Come with me on this Wednesday afternoon and we've got a 2014 Ford Transit Custom, and it's got a little bit of a noise-a-rooney on the front. That don't sound too good. Let's get this passenger wheel off. Once we've got the passenger front wheel off, we can now see what the issue is. The disc has absolutely snapped the rooney. Anyway, let's make a start on it. First thing we're going to do, we're going to get our brake hose clamp the hose, connect your brake bleeding bottle to the bleed nipple, 11mm, crack it off. We're going to push these pots back and get all that dirty fluid out, like so. And just as the pots are coming to the end, lock it off, and then that way you haven't got to bleed them brakes. And then once we've undone that bottom caliper bolt, we're going to lift it up, slide it out the carrier, like so. And we're going to get our little hookaroonie and hook it straight into the chassis, and we're going to have it dangling there. Now we can make a start on removing this caliper carrier. Now the carrier is out the way, we need to remove this split pin and the locking plate off the centre dry shaft nut, like so, and get yourself a punch and hit the centre there as hard as you can with the biggest hammer you've got, and that dry shaft should come out nice and easily. Now for those of you that don't know, these brake discs are part of the hub bearing. Now what you need is a long T50. Now I've had this T50 by Snap-on absolutely years, and it's had some hammering. That's what we do. Locate the bolt through these holes, and you don't want these slipping, because if they slip, they're going to be a nightmare. Get your hammer, also obviously with two hands, and give it a tap, and make sure it's in there nice and solid. And if you can get a bar on them first, and crack them off. Don't go balls deep with your gun, because you're going to end up slipping or snapping your bit. Now once you've removed all your T50s, what we need to do is get a bolt. For anybody that knows, and it's a keen eye, that bolt there is a Transit crank pulley hub, crank pulley bolt. And what we're going to do, get a 19mm spanner and a 15, and we're going to separate that hub, the wheel bearing from the hub, should I say. Just like that. Now we all know that if you're hitting it with a hammer, it can take a while. Just going to pull it off now. Get my hammer. Give the shaft a little taparoonie out, and that is one wheel bearing off. Once you've got everything stripped down, now you need to remove the 13mm that holds the disc to the hub. And what I've done, you just pick it up and drop it on the floor a few times, hence don't worry, it's not going to hurt the concrete. Anyway, and that disc will just fall off. Before we go reassembling it, what we're going to do is get yourself a wire brush on your drill and clean all this surface up, so when you push that wheel bearing back in, it's going to go in nice and square, and it's not going to be sitting unevenly. Now this vehicle is also having a couple of wheel bearings as well, because they were rough when I took them off. Obviously I didn't test drive the vehicle, but when I've spun them, they are incredibly rough. So we built it all up now. What we've got to do is get that hub back on and torque it up. And just like that, it is all chucked back on the vehicle. We put the branding pads in, got the caliper carrier torqued up, and the slider at the top, we put a little bit of red rubber grease and also greased this bottom slider as well. Let's get this caliper put back on. And that now is everything back to as it should be. And what we've done, repeated the process on the driver's side as well. Once the vehicle's back on the floor, get in the vehicle, pump your brake pedal until it goes nice and hard, and because we pushed the fluid out the calipers to start with, we need to top that brake fluid up accordingly. And last but not least, take the vehicle down the road for a little bit of a test drive, make sure we got no rattles, clunks, vibrations or squeaks, and gently apply the brake and make sure that it is pulling up nice and square, which it is. We're happy with this, and that is a successful replacement of front discs and pads on a Ford Transit. And they were in an absolutely horrific state. No doubt that is not going to be the first set I've seen, won't be the last, and I'm sure you all have seen brake discs go like that on the Transit. Anyway, let's get sent.